Great. Welcome, everyone, to the Town of Greater Napanee Special Session of the Council for the 27th day of August, 2025. We'll call the meeting to order, and I apologize for being a little bit late, but we're here now and we'll get going. Just want to remind everyone, those that are here in the council chambers, those that are at home watching, and those that will watch at a later date, that this evening's meeting being live streamed via our YouTube channel. So welcome to those that are watching tonight, welcome to those that are watching in the future, and welcome to those that are here in council chambers. So having said all that, we'll call the meeting to order, and we'll do our opening proceedings, which is the national anthem. So I get asked those in the council chambers to stand and face the flag for the playing of our national anthem. Thank you, everyone. We'll start this evening's meeting out with our rise and report from closed session. So we'll look for a motion to rise and report from closed session pursuant to the Municipal Act 239. Moved by Councillor Shank, seconded by Councillor Hicks. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. I'd like to report that in closed session this evening, the council received legal advice regarding the staff report on our open session agenda. Having said that, we'll move to items. Is there any, we'll look for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented for the special session of council on the 27th of August, 2025. Moved by Councillor Norrie, second by Councillor Martin. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none. Moving on to items for discussion, 6.1, request to remove county lands from encampment protocol communications material. And Mr. Grant, you're going to speak to that. So whenever you're ready, the floor will be yours.
Thank you, Your Worship, and to members of council. So this evening, we're going to have a bit of an unusual discussion. It's going to be a discussion on a matter of public interest, and fulfilling council's expectation of transparency. It involves homeless encampments in general, and specifically our encampment protocol and the communications methods we use to educate the community, those living unhoused, and our partners, as well as a threat of legal action by the County of Lennox and Addington for the use of the map that identifies public lands, including municipal, provincial, and federal lands within the town of Greater Napanee. The legal action is about the town's use of the map, which identifies those public spaces, and the issue of litigation arose after a tent appeared on county property at 97 Thomas Street. The argument is that by identifying public lands on a map that case law has deemed accessible to homeless individuals, we are encouraging people to go there. So just by way of background, in Greater Napanee, affordable housing and homelessness programming is the responsibility of the County of Lennox and Addington and Prince Edward and Lennox and Addington Social Services. Case law, provincially and federally, has deemed that people have the constitutional right to shelter themselves on public property if there is not enough shelter or affordable housing within a community. That case law has been tried and tested in Waterloo, in Kingston, and in Hamilton, and is applicable to all public lands. And in the town of Greater Napanee, we do not have any shelters, and we do not have enough affordable housing. So the case law itself, as I mentioned, applies to all government land. And I will take us back to 2024 when the town was experiencing a very difficult time where there was conflict and even violence with the situation around encampments. And candidly, my perspective is that's because the situation was unpredictable. So council may recall in 2024, in a bid to make things more predictable, to allow people to have access to their parks, as well as providing spaces, in awareness where individuals could exercise their constitutional rights and minimize negative interaction that we experienced in 2024. We developed a parks bylaw and an encampment protocol. That work involved 4 legal opinions, 2 community-wide meetings, which we held at the Best and Bash Center, numerous council reports and stakeholder consultation. The protocol itself identified sensitive areas as well as public property. It's the main education tool and provider of predictability is a map that we are using, and that is the subject of the issue today. When working with our partners and homeless residents, Bylaw Services identifies what is off limits and does not direct people to where they should shelter themselves. They provide a map that says these are the areas that are off limits, and the map also identifies public property, which case law has indicated is a place where people can constitutionally shelter themselves. Now, consultation on the map itself. Following legal advice, we included public property on that particular communications instrument. And we did a series of consultation with stakeholders. So on November 7th, 2024, we sent a note to all of our community partners, including the Chief Administrative Officer of the County of Lennox and Addington, and as well as Palace leadership, about adding all the public spaces to our map. We indicated in that correspondence that there would be a meeting on November 12th, which we held, which discussed that specifically. On November 15th, 2024, at the Homeless Strategy Table, which included Palace, partners agreed that all frontline staff would receive a copy of this map to allow and assist them in their work. On December 13th, the encampment protocol map was sent around to community partners for further feedback. The Bylaw Services staff also did a series of workshops between February and April 2025, where they took people through how we were going to, what the bylaw was, what the protocol was, and the map and how it would be used. In terms of feedback we received specifically from partners at the County of Lennox and Addington and Palace, the feedback we received from a member of their management team was to remove their phone number from the map that we were using. The rest of the phone numbers from different partner organizations, including our own, remains. We hadn't received any complaints about the map until August 13th of this year. That was the same day homeless individuals set up a tent on county lands at 97 Thomas Street. Bylaw was notified of this issue by a community partner in writing, and confirming, and they were asked and confirming that it was indeed public land. Bylaw was later called to that site after an employee at the County of Lennox and Addington reportedly told the homeless individual and some outreach workers that they had to leave the property or law enforcement would be contacted. So here's what happened next. On late in the day in August 13th, I was contacted by the Chief Administrative Officer of the County of Lennox and Addington, telling me they had concerns about the individual on their property. And they were also concerned that bylaw services at the town of Greater Napanee was directing people to that property. I know that is not true, and I did convey that. And I have seen the documentation that proves that. Also on August 13th, I confirmed, how we do things is we provide a map, say here's the areas you're not allowed, and here is public property, and we don't tell people where to go. I also said at that point I would be happy to identify those concerns and bring them to council. Should there be a wish to change how we are communicating about our protocol and our bylaw, that is a decision of council, and I am required to bring that before you. On August 14th, I was again contacted by the county, the CAO for the County of Lennox and Addington, indicating that their lands at 97 Thomas Street had to come off due to heritage designation, children's activities, and a court being present. And it was also mentioned McPherson House. I've also updated the original report that I put because I realized some of the dates I had 14th and I moved to 15th. My apologies for that. But on the morning of 15th, I again confirmed in response to that correspondence that I would be happy to bring those concerns to members of town council, put those in a report, and that report would occur in September. On that same day, on the 15th of August, it was indicated to me that the county was engaging legal counsel. Later that day, I received correspondence from a solicitor representing the County of Lennox and Addington asking us to stop distributing the map while they conducted a legal review. On August 25th, our solicitors received a cease and desist order demanding that we no longer distribute the encampment protocol map and stop doing that within 7 calendar days or face litigation. It's important to note, I think, that the map in and of itself, there's nothing illegal about it. It is a lawful document and a useful document, I would suggest. We did go above and beyond to consult the public and our stakeholders on the issue, including the map. We did reach out to all stakeholders, including leadership of the county and Pellis, on the map specifically a year ago. At the time that the first tent on county property went up on August 13th, there were 26 other encampment locations that day, 4 on private property, 4 on crown land, and 18 on town land. We created the protocol to deal with encampments and to bring predictability in the absence of a clear and coherent strategy around this issue by housing authorities, and it's working. Nobody wants this, but I would suggest we're able to manage this better than in 2024, and we're learning. So it is with this information in mind that I recommend the following. I recommend to members of council, and I remind council that we have been asked to cease and desist using that map. We've also been asked to remove certain lands from that map. I don't necessarily support those requests, but what I do support is that, and recommend, is that council encourage the County of Lennox and Addington to develop their own encampment bylaw outlining exceptions to case law for county property. They do have the right to do that, just as we've done that. I would suggest that the day after that is done, I recommend that council direct staff to update our encampment protocol map to account for any municipal legislation by the County of Lennox and Addington that they enact affecting their own property, and that we do that the next day. And I would also, understanding that we get a lot of emails, phone calls from the public, not necessarily understanding how homelessness, affordable housing, and all of that works. I would suggest that we encourage the County of Lennox and Addington to develop and consult the public on and deploy a strategy to manage and provide guidance on the significantly increasing numbers of homeless encampments in the town of Greater Napanee. And with that, myself and bylaw officer Arthur Cook are here to answer any questions you might have.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Grant. I'll start with council. Is there any questions or comments for Mr. Grant with respect to either his presentation or the report that's in front of us? See, now, Mr. Grant, and you answered this question, but I'm going to ask it. Within your report, you stated that there was a belief that the town bylaw officials were directing homeless individuals to the property. I know you took that allegation very seriously, and you checked into that, and you did somewhat of an internal, I guess, checking to make sure that was not true.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to members of council, I did, and I will ask Mr. Cook to weigh in on that. But I did take that seriously. I did investigate that. I know that would be contrary to our practice. I asked and received information that showed that we were notified in writing, and we did not, in fact, send anyone anywhere. But to shed some light on how we actually use the map, I'm going to ask, Bylaw Officer Cook, if he can explain in general terms how we use the map, and if you feel it's appropriate, how we don't use it.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Grant. Go ahead, Mr. Cook.
To you, Your Worship. The map is one of our main communication tools when we are interacting with both the public and members of our in-house community in Greater Napanee. It's a main tool that we include in educational handouts. It exists on the backs of orders that we issue, and we have circulated it to the partner agencies that are also working on this issue alongside the town. It is a tool that is easy to understand, that allows us to be able to show people where in a space and time they actually are. For example, if we were interacting with an individual of the public in Conservation Park, we're actually able to show on the map where we are for that interaction. It's a relatively clear, simple, straightforward way that anybody with any level or degree of education or understanding of Napanee can understand our protocol in a more simple manner. I'll also say that at no time, neither myself nor any of the officers that work in our unit have ever directed any individual to encamp at 97 Thomas Street at any time.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cook. Does anyone on council have any other questions or comments for either Mr. Cook or for Mr. Grant? Go ahead, Councillor Shank.
No, I just, it was concise. It gives the timeline of what happened, how it transpired, how we got there. So there we go. No, it was very much well done.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Shank. I have to agree. I did have some questions before we get started here, but I think both Mr. Cook and Mr. Grant were able to answer those questions to my satisfaction. So if there's no other, go ahead, Councillor Hicks.
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. Arthur, I'm going to ask you to expand. You said you've never directed anyone to 97 Thomas Street, but in fact, I did ask you point blank a question earlier, and you confirmed to me that you have never directed anyone to go anywhere. You're using the map simply to say you are here in contravention of our bylaw, i.e. Conservation Park. You can't be here or anywhere else that is red. And that's as far as it goes, as well as assisting people in getting into contact with partner agencies for assistance. That's the extent of the map use, correct?
Through Your Worship, to Councillor Hicks, that is correct. We use the map as a tool to show what areas are sensitive use areas. So per the bylaw, the red spaces on the map where individuals cannot encamp. And we do not direct anybody to any one particular specific location. The map is just a tool that shows public land.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Hicks. Is there anything else? If not, we do have a recommendation that council receive for information the request to remove county lands from the encampment protocol communication material report. That council encourage the county of Lennox and Anthem to develop their own encampment bylaw outlining exceptions to case law for county property. That council direct staff to update the encampment protocol map to account for any municipal legislation in the county of Lennox and Anthem acts affecting their own property. that the town council encourage the County of Lennox and Addington to develop, consult the public on, and deploy a strategy to manage and provide guidance on the significantly increasing numbers of homeless encampments in Greater Napanee. And that's the recommendation moved by Councillor Norrie, seconded by Councillor Martin. Is there any further comments, questions, or concerns with respect to the motion that's on the floor? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion that's on the floor? Opposed? The motion's carried. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you for all the hard work that you've done on this file up to date. So having said that, we'll look for a motion to confirm the proceedings of the bylaw for the town of Greater Napanee for the 27th day of August 2025. Look for a motion moved by Councillor Hicks, second by Councillor Shank. Ready first, second, and finally passes 27th day of August 2025. All in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. And look for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Norrie, second by Councillor Martin. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thanks, folks, and we'll see you in maybe a week or so for another meeting.